The following episode is explicit and is intended for mature audiences. Listener and viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's Nathaniel Avila reporting from Dallas County, and I'm here with Clara, the cat, and the cat. And what are we doing today?
Well, we are going to be recording another episode of The Devil in the Details, where we talk about all things Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss.
So, talk to me. Do you have any updates for us today?
I sure don't.
Okay, you haven't heard anything new about Hazbin Hotel or Helluva Boss?
No, because as I've stated many times, I don't really keep track.
You should.
Why? You
Well,
keep track for me.
I think there is some issues going on that we probably should address.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Children watching the show. Thoughts?
Children watching the show. I think that, well, this isn't a show for kids. But there are plenty of parents who will see a cartoon and say, "Cartoon! That's a kid's thing. That's a show for kids." Even though there's a warning every single time that says that this is not a show for kids. Also, there's the parents who will show it to their kids knowing that it's not a show for kids. And that's on them.
I think what really kind of makes things a bit not cool is basically when they start attending panels for the show.
And then making their kids go up and ask adult questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool. But, that's kind of in the line of a parent at Disney World telling their kid to go up and do something inappropriate to the princess just to see if they can get a reaction.
But to be fair, those are for children, though.
Yes, those are for children. But I think that the principle is still the same.
Okay. For adults, too.
What?
Well, you can be an adult and still take photos with the princess. You don't need a kid.
Yes, I know that.
As when I was a cast member, there were some people who were maybe a bit too, they were a bit on the sauce, you know what I mean? Especially in Epcot.
In Epcot, yeah.
That's where Anna and Elsa are.
Yep.
And so you got to really make sure that they don't get too handsy. That's why they're not allowed to hug adults.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're not allowed to hug adults.
I think, and that's probably why that they shouldn't allow kids at the Hazbin Hotel panels
Because they'll hug them.
to say inappropriate things.
Yeah, they're like, Mr. Roman,
How does it feel to play a prostitute?
How did you like doing the moaning sounds when you were getting the sex, Mr. Roman? That was a real question that was asked.
By a child?
By a child.
Not good.
And I think Talai told him that he didn't have to answer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were a bit annoyed because they're like, why is this kid
Why
here?
is this kid? Yeah.
And then there was this kind of this beef that was kind of going online in the Hazbin Hotel Helluva Boss fandom, where there was this person who I believe was a minor, who was a child, who was a preteen, running a Hazbin Hotel Helluva Boss Facebook group. And do you think that is appropriate?
Not really.
I would agree. So yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of also reminds me of when I was a child. Everyone was watching that South Park. Yeah. Everybody was watching that Family Guy.
Yeah, all of those ones.
And it's kind of it's kind of interesting to see how it translates from generation to generation. So why do you think that since it happened in our generation, do you think it would be predictable that it would happen in this one?
Yes. It's always going to happen.
Good?
Do I think it's good?
Yes.
I don't know. Probably not. Probably shouldn't be letting kids watch adult cartoons.
Right. And Clara also told me that we should reintroduce the Hays Code.
No, I did not say that. What? Let's get started on the episode. What are we talking about here today?
We're talking about Lucifer.
That's right. We're still on our Lucifer track.
We're talking about the non-canon,
Yes.
who is a lot more diabolical than the canon one.
Much more evil.
So, let's talk about his relationship with God.
Yes, his papa.
Yes. So God created Lucifer and regarded him as the most cherished creation. And for a time, Lucifer basked in his divine favoritism, becoming prideful and self-important. Now, he was once satisfied with God's dominion over all things until humans came into the picture. When God turned his favor toward humanity, Lucifer's pride turned to fury. That anger only deepened when God forgave humanity for their corruption and offered them a path to redemption, something Lucifer believed they didn't deserve. Which is very closely aligned with the English literature of Paradise Lost by John Milton.
Which I have never read.
To check it out. Wendigoon did a thing on it.
Yes, but I do not remember if I watched that video.
Check it out. So
I think I did, but I don't think I retained any of the information.
yeah, just watch all 4 hours of it.
Yeah. Hey,
You might as well just listen to the audiobook.
I do listen to audiobooks.
Mm-hmm. And Wendigoon will be like, oh,
But,
I'm Wendigoon.
Yeah.
And things such as.
And things such as.
Yes.
Classic.
He doesn't say that anymore.
No, he tries not to.
Because we kind of goofed on him a lot.
Well, that's what his new merch is.
And things such as?
Yeah, it's there on the back, I think,
and
of the shirt.
things such as.
Let's keep going. Let's stay on topic.
So feeling betrayed and overlooked, Lucifer decided that he could govern the universe better with his father. Mm-hmm. He led the rebellion to overthrow God, but his plan failed. The archangel Michael, acting on God's behalf, defeated Lucifer and cast him out of heaven. As punishment for his arrogance and treachery, God stripped Lucifer of his beauty, his most prized trait, and cursed him with a monstrous form.
A clown.
Look at him. He's so hideous.
He's so disgusting.
Look at him.
See that pasty skin and those rosy cheeks?
Those rosy cheeks.
Disgusting!
And sharp jawline.
Pales in comparison to the beauty of his original form,
Yes.
which I assume is more angelic.
I guess. Now rolling over hell, Lucifer harbors an eternal grudge against God, knowing that he was too ugly to make fan art of. And he envies God's position as the of the sovereign of heaven and the cosmos. While he remains confined to the underworld, his resentment has twisted into obsession. He's been plotting God's downfall ever since his exile in hell. Even speaking God's name is a capital offense, reflecting the depth of Lucifer's hatred.
Sorry, keep going.
Lucifer also attempts to poison others' perception of God, especially Charlie, portraying him as a cold, unforgiving, and petty. Yet, despite his contempt, Lucifer still fears his father's unmatched power. He knows better than to confront God alone again, remembering all too well how his last rebellion ended. So we established that this is basically Lucifer's main motivation. His goal is to overthrow.
That's right.
Heaven.
Yes.
Now, back when he still lived in heaven, Lucifer had 6 brothers.
Mm-hmm.
While the details of their relationship remain vague, one thing is clear. Lucifer eventually tried to drag them into his plot to overthrow and kill their father. He believed they might side with him in his ambition to seize the throne of heaven. Instead, his brothers were appalled. They rejected his offer and saw, perhaps for the first time, the full depth of his corruption and pride.
I mean, it's kind of a noob move to be like, my brothers will surely be on me on this.
That was not a pro gamer move.
Not a pro gamer move.
Do you remember the names of all of them?
Well, I know that there's Michael. He's an archangel.
Right, Michael.
I think Raphael is another archangel. I don't remember the rest. Gabriel, that's right. How could I forget Gabriel? Uriel. Yes.
I think Cassiel is one of them.
No, Cassiel's just a normal angel.
Okay.
Cassiel's not a archangel.
Azrael,
Azrael, right.
I think.
Right. And Lucifer's 7th. So, and the other one is...
Steve.
No, it's not. Google.
Fred.
It's definitely not Fred. 7 archangels. Right. Ragwell.
Ragwell. Remiel, Sariel, Uriel.
Jophiel?
There's no Jophiel.
Who are these things? These are not the names of the archangels.
Yeah, it is Michael, Raphael,
Yeah.
Gabriel,
There it is.
Uriel, Sariel,
Yes.
Ragwell, and Ramiel.
Yes. Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Suriel,
Right.
Yes.
There's an Archangel's Hotel in Jerusalem.
Wow.
Is there? Maybe I read that wrong.
Hey. I guess that's a theme that you can have, sure. Anyways.
Maybe I read that wrong. It kind of went a little bit too fast. Sad Archangels.
Back into it.
Jerusalem.
So Lucifer's brothers say, you are crazy, and they don't help him.
They don't help him. You're a crazy person. Get out of my face.
And Lucifer is like, come on, guys. Surely I would be better than our father.
Which is kind of a departure of what the canon story is, which I think is probably a made-up thing that Lucifer was telling Charlie.
Yeah. Could
Which
be.
I think would be very interesting.
Maybe.
It's not, you're like, where he's like, I didn't want them to cast you out like I was. I'm the victim.
I am the victim here. I certainly did not try to start a war.
I didn't totally try to rebel and then cause the fall of man.
Yes,
And that's why Adam hates me so much.
Yeah.
No, he really hates me because he's just a jerk, I think.
I think that's it, mostly.
And not because I stole his wife and then condemned his second wife.
Yes.
And then also caused the fall of man.
That's right.
And also I did a rebellion. But that's semantics. But it was just because I gave humanity free will or some garbage.
Something. Knowledge.
Knowledge or some garbage. That's the real reason. I'm the victim.
Yes.
So, fearing that they would expose his plans to either God or the rest of heaven, and with Satan whispering encouragement, Lucifer decided to eliminate them. So, also in this one, Satan is basically his, like I guess, his main conspirator. His co-conspirator. And he's like, my world held before the angel fell. Is that how the song go?
What?
Is that how the song went?
What song is this again?
Remember that song that he sang?
Zoomed out. Oh.
I ruled hell long before the angel fell.
Oh, right. Satan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which we learned that it was
said that he was just a liar.
He was just lying. But in the non-canon, it seems like they were co-conspirators.
Yes, that's right. Satan is apparently, in the non-canon, just like another entity that's just existed before all of this.
So, that's pretty much it in terms of the heaven stuff. Let's talk about Charlie. Yeah, Charlie's a bit of a more lengthy one.
Let's talk about Charlie.
So, Charlie is Lucifer's daughter,
That's right?
And the chosen heir to his throne. Now, he genuinely loves her. Their relationship is marked by volatility, and emotional strain, right?
Yeah. Emotional strain. Volatility.
Yeah, volatility.
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 Volatile, if you will.
Yes. Lucifer often oscillates between parental affection and ruthless condescension.
A very good combination for raising children, obviously.
Berating her dreams and calling her very existence a quote-unquote cruel joke. He views her optimism and hope for redemption as weakness, traits unfit for a ruler of hell. Still, it's clear that he hasn't fully given up on her, harsh as he may be. His relentless criticism seems rooted in a twisted desire to toughen her up into someone worthy of inheriting his crown once he reclaims heaven. Which is probably never.
Likely never. That's definitely not like a thing that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Here's optimism's too epic or too much." Meanwhile, Charlie is with Stolas, who's completely doing something. It's like, you worthless bird brain! I'll persecute you to the very extent of the law!
Ah!
Punch,
How dare
punch,
you!
punch! And he just like freaking beats
Let me
him
kick
up.
you while you're down.
And let me see. Oh yeah, their bond is far more tender during Charlie's early years. Flashbacks show a warm, playful Lucifer singing her lullabies, playing games, talking to her, taking her to Lulu World while shielding her from the horrors of hell. Now, he was loving, if eccentric father who cherished their time together, but everything changed once he revealed the truth of the exterminations.
But everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
No! Not the Fire Nation!
But yes, the truth.
For Charlie, witnessing the carnage firsthand was traumatic. For Lucifer, it was merely a lesson on how the world worked. This moment marked the start of their emotional rift. So, in the non-canon, the exterminations were the reasons why she wasn't talking to him for 7 years.
That's right.
But in the canon, we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we're not really certain. We can't say for sure it's because of the exterminations, or if it's simply because just something happened in their relationship that they just stopped talking.
Right. And whatever it was, it probably wasn't a big deal, because he just came in
it was
and
really fast.
He was just like, more than anything! And then she was like...
More than anything!
And then she was like, all is forgiven.
I'm grateful you're my father more than anything.
And then he was like, wow, that was easy.
He's like, well then.
And he presses like that button from the Staples commercial or something. He was like,
yeah.
That was easy.
That was, yes. So old.
That was a deep cut.
Deep cut, for real.
Mean for real, for real?
Yeah, for real, whatever.
FR. So, for Charlie, witnessing the car... I already said that.
Yes.
So, as Charlie pursued ideals of redemption in heaven, Lucifer grew harsher and more dismissive. Her vision directly challenged his authority and the status quo of hell. While he publicly mocked and berated her dreams behind the scenes, he struggled with her absence. He shut down Lulu World and has isolated himself in its empty joy, clinging to remnants of the past. Even as he lashed out, sending demons to hinder her efforts. As it was clear, his actions stemmed from a place of fear. Fear of becoming irrelevant. Of being left behind by the daughter he couldn't understand. Now, in the song My Darling Apple Pie, which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I like how the non-canon has songs.
Yeah.
Lucifer lays bare his emotional conflict. Mourning the daughter he lost. Lamenting the love he no longer feels capable of giving, and ultimately admitting the pain of not being able to accept who she has become. It's bitter, sorrowful ballad that ends with him tearing a photo of her in half, a symbolic gesture of heartbreak and defeat. How do you think My Darling Apple Pie goes?
I think he's like,
My darling,
yes, yeah.
apple pie.
Apple pie.
I love you more than apple pie. Good job.
You are the apple of my eye. No longer. Goodbye.
And you are the apple of my pie.
Apple pie.
Beautiful.
How once I knew you.
Apple
and now
pie.
you're rotten.
That doesn't rhyme.
Apple pie.
Good job.
Thank
1
you.
billion
Likes
streams on
Spotify.
1 billion streams on Spotify. Yeah. In the song, yeah, I already said that. So,
Yes.
however, their relationship takes a turn when Charlie visits Lulu World on a mission. Yeah, Charlie.
Keep going.
Hi, my name is Charlie.
Hello, I'm Charlie.
Nice
to meet you.
I'm Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. The adult writers told me to take my shirt off.
No, don't say that. Keep going.
Yeah. Amidst its Charlie is a guy, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Amidst its hollow cheer, father and daughter reconnect as they ascend the Ferris wheel together. Lucifer finally lets his mask slip. He confesses to using Lulu World as a crush for his loneliness and disillusionment. Charlie, in turn, reminds him that she still believes in him and that their hope extends even to her deeply flawed father. Moved by her unwavering compassion, Lucifer begins to soften, and for the first time in years, he openly affirms his love and pride in her. After awkward but heartfelt hug marks a turning point, though far from perfect, Lucifer finally begins supporting Charlie's mission, not out of obligation, but out of genuine desire to see her succeed where he failed. In doing so, he starts to reclaim a piece of the father he once was, and the king he might have been.
Isn't that so nice?
So I think this is a more satisfying and fulfilling arc and character development for Lucifer than the one that we see in the canon.
It is, but remember, we only have so much time. And we really need to focus. I think that we really needed to have our focus on that whole, like, war thing or whatever.
What, war thing?
Yeah, you know, when the angels come in to fight. You know, focusing on that rather than...
You talking about the extermination?
Yeah, the extermination. When they come in, you know, and they fight them.
Right.
The battle.
We need to focus on the JPM.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Jokes per minute, Clara.
Oh, jokes per minute. Okay. Well, I don't know if they focus on that either.
Yeah. We need Clara's been watching a lot of Solar Opposites where they're like, we need a lot of JPM, and then the Wall or Space Cops comes in. It's like 0 JPM. It's all serious.
Yeah. I don't really care that much though.
0 JPM.
I'm fine.
You thought you were watching silly aliens do silly things? Wrong! This is a psychodrama now.
I don't know. I kind of like the random moments of psychodrama.
Lilith,
Queen
of Hell, and is Lucifer's wife, and one of the most, and the few beings she's ever truly loved. Their early relationship was a whirlwind of obsession and passion that defy Lucifer's typically self-centered nature. Mm-hmm. He worshipped her, serenading her with haunting melodies, trying to impress her even amidst the torture of sinners. Their romance, though disturbing to outsiders, was a macabre dance of twisted flirtation, dark humor, and sexually charged threats that always ended in steamy, passionate embraces. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
When what others found grotesque, they found intimate and thrilling.
Oh, ho, ho.
They met after Lucifer's fall from heaven, broken and battered. Lucifer crash-landed on Earth, where Lilith, then still living with Adam, found him and tended his wounds. During his recovery, a powerful connection bloomed. Lilith was enchanted by Lucifer's eccentric charisma, and his dream of creating a new world, a world one built on chaos, freedom, and fun. Ooh. His vision shattered her reverence for God and sparked a betrayal of her past beliefs. As a symbol of trust, she even shared the last fruits of Eden with him, fruits once meant for Adam, Cain, and Abel.
Drama.
When Lilith revealed her true origin as the inner demon of Eve, by the way, there's an inner demon of Eve, I guess.
But sure.
Lucifer responded not with judgment, but with compassion, perhaps the first time he'd shown such empathy. He reassured her that the past didn't define her, and that she was worthy of love and dignity. To him, she wasn't just a demon. She was the only mortal worthy of affection.
Isn't that so romantic?
Yeah. As they left Earth together, Lucifer awkwardly gave Lilith a lily as a gift, his first ever attempt at one. Touched by the gesture, she adopted the name Lilith in his honor. Upon reaching hell, Lucifer bestowed her with immortality and demonic power, crowning her his queen. So did she become like a sinner demon without dying?
I don't know if that really counts as being a sinner demon.
And what is she then?
I think maybe just like a demon.
Like a hellborn demon? But she wasn't born in hell.
She wasn't born in hell, but she's not dead, is she?
Okay. No, I don't think so.
So maybe she's just something different.
Okay. Now, at their wedding was marked with an intense by an intense vow, Lucifer swearing to tear heaven and earth apart if anything ever harmed her. Lilith's passionate kiss in return sealed a bond that for a time seemed unbreakable, even when tempted by Valentino's quote-unquote offerings. Lucifer remained loyal, proudly declaring himself a married man. Their love was rare, and the place was where betrayal is the norm. Hey, Clara, do you want to be Valentino? And I'll be Lucifer.
Okay. Who's Valentino?
You're Valentino.
Oh.
I'm Lucifer.
Lucifer! Perhaps
Yes.
I can interest you in one of my fine men or women.
Absolutely.
In one of my
Absolutely.
What?
Yes, I'm a married man, but not tonight. I am now. Takes off his wedding ring.
I wasn't thinking that's where that was gonna go. So
You weren't prepared. You thought I was going to turn down, so you were prepared.
I thought you were gonna go down like the obvious section.
So you did. So you weren't prepared with the women. You were just saying that.
Yeah. No. Yes, I don't have any men or women tonight.
Okay.
I thought you were gonna say no.
So Lucifer's love for Lilith is disturbingly romantic. It's disturbingly romantic. Ooh. He crafts love notes. It kind of reminds me of that Friendship trailer.
Friendship trailer?
Remember the trailer with Friendship? Where they're like, this is a funny movie. And the guy's like, oh, no!
Right. The trailer that we just saw, which was supposed to be a comedy, but it was very serious for a comedy.
Yeah, it was like...
Very serious looking.
Very horror.
Looked very scary, honestly.
It's like, this is a very funny movie. And this guy going,
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got that the first time. I didn't think you needed to do that again.
So this is like... it's like a romance, and they're being like they're like on a date or something, and it's like, this is super disturbing.
Yeah.
And they're all like walking down the beach or something, like da 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 da, super disturbing nightmare.
Yep. Exactly like that.
I'm noticing that a lot of like trailers, this is a bit off topic, but I'm noticing a lot of trailers are trying to like present as like a different genre than what it is.
Yeah.
Companion did that too.
Did it?
Yeah, because it was trying to portray it like as a romance at first.
No.
Wasn't it? Like, this is like a super romantic.
No! Did you not pay attention to the first trailer?
I guess not.
I mean, there's literally a scene where you see her tied, like chained to the chair.
Yeah, because she's a robot or something.
Well, they reveal it in the second trailer,
Okay.
that she's an android. But in the first one, it just looks like a normal person being tortured by this guy.
Yeah. By Jack Quaid.
Yeah, Jack Quaid.
Who was also Novocaine.
Yes. He's a Nepo baby.
Right.
He's our favorite Nepo baby, though,
Yeah.
apparently.
He's actually pretty good.
According to the people.
I actually kind of like him. I liked him in Star Trek.
Yeah,
and Lower
exactly.
Decks.
That's what I said.
I
He's the favorite Nepo baby.
Yeah, I also liked him as Superman in the Superman anime.
I don't remember that one. Oh, the anime. Okay, yeah, sure.
It was
Keep going.
All American anime.
Let's keep going.
So he crafts love notes from her discarded eyelashes and skin, watches her sleep as if it were totally normal, and makes bizarre decorations of devotion involving body grafting and skin wearing, though always with a not in a creepy way. Disclaimer.
Not in a creepy way, of course.
He read Twilight and he was like, "This is super romantic. I like watching.
This is so romantic.
I like watching you sleep."
I really like coming in here and watching you sleep, Bella.
I like watching you sleep.
Because I can't sleep myself, so I find it really hot that you sleep. It's really sexy.
Okay. Now, where he's theatrical and childish, Lilith is poised and pragmatic. She runs the politics and logistics of hell, essentially acting as a kingdom's backbone, while Lucifer indulges in his hobbies and luxuries. Despite their strange contrast, their dynamic creates a twisted yet functional harmony. However, their unity falters when it comes to Charlie. Lilith shares a far closer bond with her daughter, supporting her emotionally, even if she doesn't fully believe in her dreams. She encouraged Lucifer to let Charlie explore her path, right, Clara?
Yep.
While Lucifer, for years, saw Charlie as a naive failure. It's unclear if this disagreement over parenting created strain between them, but it likely contributed to their drifting apart.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ooh, gross, disgusting.
Yours is gross.
Apologize to the listeners.
It's a normal bodily function.
Apologize to the listeners.
I'll never apologize for normal bodily function.
Apologize.
It's a normal bodily function.
He's sorry.
Eventually, after Lucifer withdrew into isolation within Lulu World, news broke that he and Lilith had separated. Katie Killjoy and Tom Trench reported the split, while Corey and Peele added that Lilith had left because Lucifer had become a stranger. Whatever that means.
Every time I hear Corey and Peele, I just think about Key and Peele.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's really confusing.
They're actually supposed to be like two apple, like...
Yeah,
demons.
like a core and a Peele.
Yeah.
I get it, but it's really confusing.
Corey and Peele coming up
Corey and Peele.
on
Comedy Central.
Peele became a horror master.
And Corey is
doing stuff too.
Yeah.
He was in Jingle Jangle.
Jingle Jangle. Ah, that's a good one.
Let me see. What else? Oh yeah. So the hopeful, goofy man who once dreamed of a joyful hell had become bitter, joyless, and consumed by darkness. Lucifer later clarified that Lilith was going through her own personal struggles with her quote-unquote other half and needed space. Despite still loving him, she couldn't carry both his burdens and her own. Her departure left Lucifer more isolated, surrounded by shadows of the joy they once shared, and longing for the partner who once made hell feel like home.
That's sad.
It is
it's
sad.
sad when a relationship falls apart.
All right. Speaking of relationship, let's talk about Alistair.
Let's talk about Alistair. Let's get into it.
Where are our Radio Apple fans?
Somewhere, I assume.
So, Lucifer and Alistair share a bizarrely yet deeply bonded friendship.
Ooh.
Built on the shared love of theatric showmanship and unapologetic narcissism. Now, their dynamic is anything but typical. Two flamboyant powerhouses of hell who thrive on flair, and more flair. Pretty good, right?
Yep.
They often indulge in whimsical duets, dramatic banter, and over-the-top antics that teeter between performance art and genuine affection. Their chemistry is so undeniable that Lucifer officially ordained Alistair as an ambassador of hell and granted him the rare honor of being a welcome guest within the Morningstar family's private territory, the circus.
So, very different from their canon relationship.
Yeah. The canon relationship, they're more like frenemies.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if frenemies is good either. They seem like rivals in a way.
Yeah. And he met him at the hotel.
Maybe we think so. Yes.
Because wasn't he like?
It seemed that way.
Because he was like, "Who's this guy? Is this Isabella?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, in this one, they're like best buds. Like,
Yes.
He was best man at the wedding.
Yes, they're like such good friends. Maybe a bromance?
Maybe. You think we'll ever see the circus?
Maybe. I don't know if that's a thing that is being kept.
I would like to see the circus. So, their bond is rooted in mutual admiration. Alistair openly hails Lucifer as a sovereign, while Lucifer is consistently charmed by Alistair's eerie charisma and impeccable musical taste. They practically feed each other's egos, exchanging compliments with the enthusiasm of two vaudeville stars in love with their own spotlights. Now, Lucifer's respect for Alistair deepened after the infamous toppling of the Pride Ring's overlords. Where most saw chaos, Lucifer saw brilliance. Alistair's ruthless restructuring in the infernal hierarchy solved long-standing headaches, quelled territorial feuds, and inflicted exquisite suffering upon the sinners, something Lucifer considers a work of art. For that, he not only respects Alistair, but delights in keeping him close, both as an ally and as a kindred spirit in the theater of torment. So in the non-canon, it seems like Alistair basically usurps the overlords, I guess, and then he becomes the sole overlord.
Right.
Okay. Do you know who the overlords are, Thar?
The current ones, like in the canon?
Yeah, in the canon.
Well, okay.
There's
so
Alistair.
If you can remember. Yeah, Alistair's one. Rosie is one.
Rosie.
Zestial.
Zestial.
The
Carmilla.
person Camilla, that's her name, and then the V's.
So Valentino, Vox, and Velvet.
Velvet, but they count as one Overlord.
Okay, why?
Technically, well, because that's they combine their power.
Okay.
That's why they're the V's.
Gotcha.
Missy Zilla.
Missy Zilla.
That random guy who was there in that meeting.
That one guy, the skull guy.
Remember his name?
That ghost head looking mofo.
Yeah, that guy.
The Ghost Rider looking mofo.
He was there.
And I think that's all of them.
I think that's it. That's all I remember. Yep.
Well, Alistair defeated them all, especially Rosie.
Especially Rosie.
Not feeling too rosy now, are you?
Nah.
So, during his time in heaven, right, Lucifer crossed paths with a being older and darker than any angel. A primordial entity known as Satan. Now, introducing itself as a fallen light beyond the stars, Satan recognized Lucifer's pride, disdain for humanity, and budding interest in forbidden magic. It saw him as a perfect candidate to spark rebellion. Stroking his ego, Satan declared Lucifer the most daring and ambitious of all the angels and offered him a deal. Help corrupt God's divine host and overthrow the Almighty in exchange for Lucifer's eternal allegiance. So in this one, Satan is more of like I guess a less physical entity and more of like an ambiguous entity or something like that, as opposed to the canon where he's like a dragon guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's the dragon guy?
Satan.
Right. Sorry. Keep going. Yeah, he's just the I don't know, some floating mass or something.
So in this one, he is older than any of the angels.
It seems like it in the non-canon, but we already know that that's not being kept.
Yeah. So tempted, like we also don't know how he became like the Wrath, embodiment of Wrath.
Yeah.
So tempted by the promise of power and vengeance, Lucifer agreed. With Lucifer's charisma and Satan's corruptive essence, they twisted the hearts of thousands of angels, turning them to soldiers for their cause. United by pride and wrath, they waged war against heaven, only to be struck down by God and his champion, the Archangel 40.
40?
Yes. Who led heaven's counterattack. Their uprising failed, and both Lucifer and Satan were cast down. I don't think 40 is from anything. I think he's supposed to be a reference to the number 40 being a recurring number in the Bible.
That sounds like it could be correct.
So, in the present day, billions of years later, Lucifer once again invoked the devil. This time, he made a deal for control. In exchange for Satan destroying heaven's light, the gateway for redeemed souls, Lucifer could ensure no sinner ever left hell. This would trap them under his dominion indefinitely, solidifying his role as ruler. Do you think we'll ever see heaven's light in the canon?
Maybe?
Yeah. Because it would give the reason how sinners can be able to get redeemed, like what happened with Serpentius.
It could very well be the case. I mean, it's not like that we see heaven's light, like strike him and send him to
heaven.
I mean, he gets exploded.
Then it also kind of comes, like, a lot of people don't know how it works yet. The in-universe, how the in-universe rules are for that. Some people say, do you have to like die in order to be redeemed or something?
I feel like that might make sense. That you have to like lose your body or whatever it is that you have in hell in order for it to.
If that's the case, then no exterminated souls, whatever, ever went up there.
Maybe not. I don't think so. Because none of them went like on the road to redemption.
I guess.
So I guess. Because the thing is that Serpentius died for something.
Because no greater love than the one laying down for your one's friend or whatever.
Yes.
There's no greater love than laying down one's life for one's friends.
Yes.
That is a Bible verse.
Yes, yeah, that's right. You got it. Good job.
So yet, for all their history, Lucifer's loyalty to Satan is clearly shallow. He made no effort to free the devil from its prison in purgatory, and the reunion marked their first contact since the fall. Even now, Lucifer treats Satan less like a master and more like a pawn to be tolerated only when useful. He is unafraid to defy Satan, especially when it conflicts with his own agenda. This was especially evident when he stopped Satan from killing Charlie, insisting she was vital to his plot against God. Ultimately, Lucifer remains driven not by servitude, but self-interest. Even in the presence of the dark god that once lent him into damnation, he stands in his own terms. When reconciling with Charlie, he expressed genuine pride in her for defying Satan. Perhaps a subtle sign that in his own twisted way, he sees her strength as a reflection of his own. Don't make out with the, don't make out with the cat.
I was just giving him a kiss.
Razzle and dazzle.
Razzle and dazzle. Silly little guys. One of them's dead now.
Oh, actually, scratch that. I mean Corey and Peele.
Corey and Peele.
Only on Comedy Central.
Again.
I can't wait to see Peele's latest horror masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it cuts to him like on a director's chair. It's like, my next horror piece would be about race relations.
That's what they're all about. For the most part, usually.
So, Corey and Peele were once among Lucifer's most loyal servants, created by the king of hell himself, which is Lucifer, to fill the void left by Razzle and Dazzle after the goat duo betrayed him to aid Charlie's mission of redemption.
Dang.
Which
Brutal.
isn't true in the canon.
No,
they were more like...
They're like little bodyguards for her or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of them's dead now.
Yeah. In theory, Corey and Peele were meant to be loyal, dependable, and unquestionably obedient. In practice, they became a little more than scapegoats for Lucifer's wrath. Lucifer treated the two with open cruelty, using them as verbal and physical punching bags whenever he was in a foul mood. He frequently mocked, berated, and humiliated them, often in public, without the slightest regard for their dignity or well-being. Despite their unwavering devotion, Corey and Peele lived in constant fear of their master, knowing their existence hinged on his temper. Yet despite all the torment, there were rare flickers of humanity in their dynamic. Lucifer occasionally tolerated their company during meals and assigned them critical tasks, showing he had at least some belief in their usefulness. Oddly enough, even after repeated failures and embarrassing blunders, the two retained their positions. Proof that, for all his cruelty, Lucifer saw some value in keeping them around. Still, he considered them entirely disposable, and never hesitated to punish or threaten them when they failed to meet his expectations. What do you think? Pretty sad, right?
Yeah. That's really sad.
You weren't paying attention.
No, I really wasn't.
Goodness.
I don't know what happened. Sometimes my mind just goes away.
Yeah, I know where it goes.
What? What are you talking about?
Eventually, after Lucifer sank into apathy and abandoned his grand ambitions,
yes,
Corey and Peele found themselves cast out.
Okay.
Not for betrayal or incompetence, or simply doing their jobs. Their crime? ? Reporting updates to the king who no longer cared.
Right.
With little ceremony, Lucifer dismissed them and threw them out of the circus.
Okay.
Leaving them homeless and broken.
Yeah, that's sad. That is sad. Yeah.
Charlie, disgusted by her father's callousness, found the pair arguing in a cardboard box and offered them a second chance.
Oh, how nice.
This time as bellboys at the Hazbin Hotel.
Ooh, woohoo!
Now you're Mario? You're like, whoa!
No, I said weehoo. Like, Mario is woohoo!
And you're like, I'm gonna win. So, while far from glamorous, the job gave Corey and Peele something they had long been denied. A place where they were treated with decency.
Love.
Yeah, but mostly decency.
Okay.
And given the chance to redeem themselves, just like the sinners they now served.
Wow, isn't that so lovely? Ain't that just the most beautiful thing you ain't ever heard?
Yeah. Basil.
Who?
It is one of Lucifer's many pet serpents, but stands apart as the most trusted and constant companion.
The favorite pet serpent.
Yeah. Often seen draped around Lucifer's iconic top hat, Basil is a near-permanent fixture by the King of Hell's side. An eerie yet fitting accessory for the Monarch of Damnation. So yeah, the snake that's around Lucifer's hat, that's Basil.
Oh, I see.
We have not seen him yet. He's still just an inanimate object as of right now.
His hat, yep.
He has the same backstory as like Nagini from Harry Potter, where she was like, I was a woman or something.
I was a person once, and then I became a snake. Forever.
So, their bond is more than aesthetic, though. The two share a deep, almost supernatural connection, allowing Lucifer to see through Basil's eyes and communicate with him telepathically. Their relationship is more partnership than pet ownership. Basil often serves as a quiet advisor, especially during Lucifer's more sadistic endeavors, offering insight or commentary as prisoners are tortured or schemes unfold. The serpent's presence is both calming and calculating. He doesn't just watch, he contributes. Despite his silent demeanor, Basil has a sharp mind and dark wit that aligns perfectly with Lucifer's theatrical cruelty.
Whoa.
Together, they form an unholy duo. Lucifer, the flamboyant tyrant, and Basil, the ever watchful serpent. Coiling through shadows and secrets. Their bond, while unconventional, is forged in shared malice, trust, and a strangely intimate understanding of one another's twisted rhythms.
You know what I always say, that the strongest bonds are formed through malice.
Really? That's what you say?
I say that all the time, every day.
Okay, so what do you think about Basil?
Snake.
He's a snake?
Snake guy.
So what do you think about, especially how Lucifer is treating these people?
Not great.
Well,
He's very expendable.
Why is he such a meaniable beanie?
I don't know. That's just, he's the ruler of hell, even though he doesn't care that much.
Do you think we'll ever see Corey and Peele? Not Corey. Yeah, Corey and Peele in the...
No.
You don't think so? We'll never see him in the non-canon?
No.
I mean, in the canon?
So. In the canon?
Why
no.
not?
What do you mean? What purpose would they serve?
I guess it could replace Dazzle?
No, why would you replace one character with two random characters?
Because that's cool.
No.
So, let's talk about his rubber ducks.
Okay.
Now...
He's got a duck collection.
But in the non-canon, Lucifer's army of sentient rubber ducks is one of the most bizarre yet oddly enduring fixtures of his dominion in hell.
Ah, they're sentient now.
Yeah, far from being mere toys, these ducks are actually physical manifestations of damned souls.
Wow!
Mm-hmm. Each one born into...
That's right. I remember now.
What do you mean remember now?
What do you mean? Just I remember reading about this.
Okay. Do you think that'll come into play in the canon?
No.
Why not?
I doubt it.
That they're just goofy ducks?
What, that randomly Lucifer's gonna be like, actually, there's a duck for every soul.
Oh.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen. If it is, then hey, I'm wrong, but man, I don't think so.
So each one born into Lulu World the moment the sinner is condemned. Over the centuries, Lucifer has amassed a veritable legion of them. So, yeah, and they now form a loyal, waddling entourage that rarely leaves his side.
Waddling entourage.
Yes.
That's so funny.
Despite their cartoonish appearance, the ducks serve multiple functions. They act as performers in Lucifer's grand musical numbers, lending quickening harmonies and synchronized choreography to his dramatic outbursts. But beyond entertainment, they're also a strange source of emotional support.
So they're like that background thing where he does like a sick burn, and then the ducks are like, oh snap, oh snap, oh snap, oh snap.
Yeah.
That's them.
They're like, oh, right, Clara? That's what they do. So, yeah, and then also, when Lucifer is overcome with rage, sorrow, or existential dread, it's often the ducks who gather around him to soothe his nerves and cheer him up. Even more curiously, the ducks act as a sort of advisory council. While they don't speak in conventional language, they communicate with Lucifer through a strange, shared understanding. In moments of turmoil, they've offered him guidance. Oh, yeah. Wait, what was it going? They don't speak in a conventional language. They communicate with Lucifer through a strange, shared understanding. In moments of turmoil, they offered him guidance, such as suggesting he enlists the V's to destroy heaven's light. For Lucifer, who trusts few and often isolates himself, these odd companions may be the closest thing he has to confidants. Silly on the surface, they represent something far deeper. The weight of his rule, the souls under his control, and the strange comfort he finds in chaos. So what do you think? Do you think we'll see that in the canon?
No.
They'll be like, we think you should work with the bees.
I don't think that we're gonna see that. No, it seems a little late in the game for it to just like randomly introduce it, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay. Do you think Lucifer will work with the bees?
No, probably not.
No.
Why do you want him to?
That'd be fun.
I don't think it matches his character now.
Okay. Let's talk about Pluto.
All right, the planet Pluto.
No, not the planet Pluto.
Oh, the Roman god?
The Roman god of the underworld.
The Roman god of the underworld, Pluto.
Yes. But in here, Pluto was one of Lucifer's many unfortunate servants.
Ah.
Though servant might be too kind of a word. Treated more like property than a person, Pluto endured constant mistreatment at the hands of the king of hell. Lucifer regularly berated him for even the smallest missteps and used him in humiliating ways.
Dang.
Most notably, forcing Pluto to act as a human pedestal so Lucifer could stand taller than Charlie and Lilith in family portraits.
Brutal.
Feeding the king's vanity at the cost of Pluto's dignity. In the episode Red Smoke, which doesn't exist,
Yep.
Pluto's fate took a gruesome turn after committing the unforgivable sin of wearing socks with sandals. Disgusted, Lucifer subjected him to a brutal torture session, casually slicing off Pluto's fingers and consuming them mid-rant. But before he could continue, Peel interrupted with pressing news. Unfazed, Lucifer turned to Pluto and said, "Hold this," before calmly driving an angelic spear through his chest, killing him on the spot, as if it were a trivial afterthought. Now, Pluto's death wasn't dramatic or mourned. It was a passing moment, and one more casual cruelty in the endless theater of Lucifer's sadism. In the grand scope of Hell's hierarchy, Pluto was just another discarded soul sacrificed at the altar of Lucifer's pride and pettiness. So, there's that.
Dang, brutal.
Do you think we'll see Pluto?
No, I do not.
I thought you liked Pluto.
I don't know Pluto. I don't know him. He's not in this.
He wasn't even in the canon.
He's never
non-canon.
been in this.
He's not even in the non-canon, barely.
Yeah, barely. So why are we talking about him?
So let's talk about the V's.
Okay, let's discuss the V's.
So Lucifer once held Vox, Velvet, and Valentino, collectively known as the 3 V's, or the V's, in high esteem as one of Hell's most capable overlords and mercenaries.
The future of Hell belongs to the V's.
Right. The trio frequently carried out dirty work in his behalf, whether that meant putting an end to rival overlords or derailing Charlie's efforts to redeem sinners. He trusted them to delegate missions and even took amusement in their antics.
Delegate?
Yeah, delegate. No, delegate.
What does that mean? What does delegate mean?
I will tell you.
Tell me the specifics.
It means very fine in texture or structure. Oh, delicate.
Oh, delicate.
So.
I was trying to figure out, I was like, what the heck is delegate?
Delicate missions.
Delicate
and
missions.
And even took amusement in their antics. Occasionally visiting their nightclubs or for entertainment.
Ooh, fancy.
But, Valentino, I am a merry man. What?
Can I not convince you?
I came here just to tell you that I'm a married man.
I came here simply to watch the art of the dance.
No, that is true. You, if that's what you want to do, you should be You should do it.
I'm here to simply watch the girls move. I don't want to be involved in anything else.
And then they'll be like, give me all your money or else I'll freaking kill you.
Well, you gotta assert yourself in those situations. You gotta say, no, I don't want a lap dance.
No, madam! Get thy sinning hand off of me, Jezebel!
Remove thine posterior!
If I said that in the club, I would be like totally clowned on.
You would be.
So, what happened? Oh, so he trusted them with, yeah, I already said that. Mm-hmm. To Lucifer, they were useful, entertaining, and efficient until they weren't.
Yeah.
That trust began to erode when Lucifer tasked the V's with one of his most crucial missions, the destruction of heaven's light.
And then they effed it up.
Yeah, the gateway for redeemed souls, as we know.
As we know. Shoals?
Souls.
Yes.
It was a direct order to snuff out Charlie's dream at its root. But after a string of failures and incompetence, his patience wore thin. He issued a chilling ultimatum: succeed or face torture and death. His frustration peaked when Corey and Peel reported the final failure of Valentino's plan to destroy the Hazbin Hotel.
Dang.
Enraged, Lucifer lashed out, branding Val a pupating hack.
Pupating hack?
Yeah. And referring Vox and Velvet as quote-unquote modern poop heads, effectively signaling that they had fallen out of favor.
I feel like poop wasn't the word.
Yes, it was.
Actually being used
However,
there.
the V's managed to claw their way back into Lucifer's good graces.
Oh, phew.
Tasked by Satan to capture half of the Hazbin Hotel crew, they succeeded, bringing those prisoners directly to Lucifer.
Oh, thank goodness.
Pleased by their success, Lucifer held off in his previous threats of torment and commended their efforts, if only temporarily. But this fragile favor shattered again after the 8-year time skipped in No Time Left, the episode that doesn't exist.
Right.
Furious over their continued failure to seize heaven's light and harboring long, simmering grudge, Lucifer finally snapped. He unleashed his wrath on the V's, attacking Vox and Velvet with powerful telekinesis and personally torturing Valentino by driving an angelic blade through his arm. Only after venting his rage did he relent, giving the trio one final task: intercept the Hazbin Hotel crew before they can reach Baxter's lab and potentially tip the balance of power in heaven's favor. By this point, Lucifer's relationship with the V's is one of fraying tolerance and conditional trust. Once elite enforcers of his empire, they now walk a razor-thin line between redemption and annihilation, completely at the mercy of their volatile king. Thoughts?
It's a brutal world out there.
You think we'll see that?
Yeah, under there.
You don't think we'll see that in the canon?
I really don't think that we'll see that.
Where-
Lucifer doesn't seem to have much of a relationship with
The V's?
anybody.
Okay, so he's not going to have them be like his enforcers or whatever.
Very unlikely.
Okay.
Especially with how it ended, where he was like, I believe in you, Charlie. You proved it to me.
That's how he says it?
Yeah, that's how he says it. That's how the song goes.
You proved it to me!
You proved it to me. Now prove it to the world.
You were my friend, but now you don't want to be my friend. This is a comedy! Bah, bah, bah. This is hilarious! Ah! So, that's what we'll leave it for today.
Okay.
We still have more to talk about for Lucifer.
Lucifer is a jam-packed character, you guys.
Yeah, he's one of the major characters.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So
it's expected.
It's expected. So, yep, that's the episode for today. I've been Nathaniel Avila.
And I've been Clara Avila.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to a Vision podcast, home of wacky talkies, The Kingdom, Evil Exists, and many more.